psychological and historical events did people have to overcome due to the Great Depression?
Causes of the Great Depression.
Stock market crash of 1929. Stockholders lost more than $40 billion. Failures. Over 9,000 in the 1930s failed. Bank deposits were uninsured and people lost all their savings.
Reduction of purchasing. Stock market crash and fears of the economy getting worse. This led to less items being produced, reduction in the workforce, and items being repossessed. The unemployment rate rose above 25%. Howley tariff. High taxes for imports and less trade.
Condition, Dust Bowl. Could not pay taxes, had to sell farm.
I'm such a coward. I should have done this a long time ago. I hope one day the stress of society will dissipate and the world will return as it was. My mom's name was Peg Smith. She died at the age of 32. Her death was one of many during the 1930s, or also known as the peak of the Great Depression. My father lost his job. It was a rough time. Because my father now had no way to support the family, he became depressed and lost interest in the family, friends, and activities. My mother felt that she now had to provide for the family, which caused more stress and apprehensiveness, leading to severe anxiety. Dad was getting better. His major episodes of depression seemed to be coming to an end, but shortly after he returned to his previous behaviors. This sent my mom into a downward spiral. Her anxiety worsened and the stress of trying to provide for the family took control. She did her best to adjust to the hard psychological hardships. Mothers were also told to take special care in raising their children under the shadow of the Depression. She was counted on to be a positive force in the community and the supportive center of the family. Mothers' workloads during this time became very heavy. Bank deposits were uninsured and people lost their money. This caused many to turn to stealing in order to support their families. Instead of joining this trend, she decided to lose faith in her life. She saw no way out, and the best solution was taking her own life. This is the note she left. I am such a coward. I should have done this a long time ago. I hope one day the stress of society will dissipate and the world will return as it was.
A good example of how anxiety can be caused is an experiment conducted by Phillips and Bardos called the Stanford Prison Experiment. Phillips and Bardos' famous experiment cast regular students in the roles of prisoners and prison guards. The study was originally supposed to last 2 weeks, but it was stopped after 6 days because the guards became abusive and the prisoners began to show signs of extreme stress and anxiety. Some of the prisoners had emotional breakdowns and had to leave early.
Symptoms of anxiety is that the person would be tense all the time, apprehensiveness, and autonomic arousal. Pig showed apprehensiveness. Symptoms of depression would be loss of interest in family and friends and activities, lethargy, stressful events, and feelings of worthlessness. Peg's husband was no longer able to support his family, so he felt feelings of worthlessness. Symptoms of suicide would be stressful experiences, negative explanatory style, depressed mood, cognitive and behavioral changes, and Peg committed suicide because she couldn't handle the stress of society during the Great Depression.
We are still affected by the Great Depression today because we now know we learned from our mistakes, and so has the rest of the world. We have learned new and improved ways to control money. The government took on a greater role in the everyday social and economic lives of the people by creating new programs and labor unions. Some new programs include Civilian Conservation Corporation, Civil Works Administration, Federal Housing Administration, Federal Security Agency, and Homeowners Loan Corporation.
Peg Smith, born June 20th, 1899. Died July 28, 1931. The years following 1929 posed stress on many because of the economic hardships of the Great Depression.